Hello and welcome to A Room of Our Own, a monthly show that invites listeners to broaden their worldviews through conversations on cultural and social issues and stories of triumph and struggles, all from the lived experiences of women, Asians, and immigrants. Join us as we explore the world through our own lens. This episode, I have invited DeenxDunya, an all-female initiative striving to empower women through the discourse of DeenxDunya. I have invited two members from their team, their founder Aniza and their social media manager Yusra, and we talk about how this initiative began, where the idea came from, how they planned it, all the events that they have organized since, and what their plans are for the future. And yeah, we had a nice conversation. Aniza and her team are incredibly professional, creative, and ambitious, and I cannot wait to see more of DeenxDunya in the future, inshallah.
Hello.
This is a bit crazy. This could the episode could be called Islamic Primary School Reunion.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know Yusra?
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah, I
God.
do.
Yeah.
All right.
She knows my
yes,
sister.
You told me.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have short-term memory loss. She told
Yeah.
me. She literally told me. Oh, she's one of my friend's sister. I was like, oh, what a
Yeah.
small world.
Yeah. When I can't remember when you guys started this. If I'm guessing right, it was last year or
Last year.
early this year. Last year,
Last
yes.
year.
And
Last
ever
year.
Last
since
year, I believe it was September.
Yeah, September.
that's a long time ago. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and ever since you guys started, I was just very curious about the whole thing. Is it just DeenxDunya? Like there's an accent in the middle, but how do you say the whole name?
It's like
Yeah. Say
interchangeable.
both, actually.
So sometimes,
Yeah.
like if I'm explaining it to people who don't speak the Urdu language, then I'll say Deen times
Yeah.
Dunya. I don't know. It's just like unconsciously I'll say, oh, it's Deen times Dunya. But like when I'm talking, let's say we have a Deen session, then I'll say Deen and Dunya. So
Yeah. Yeah, so I since the day you guys started, you guys just been like on top of everything, and it's just been really impressive to watch. So I just wanted to get to know more about this project because it's been a very short amount of time, and you guys operate like you're already a whole non-profit organization, and I just want to know how you guys do it. Like, so whose idea was it? How did you even come about the planning, and how long did it take? Yeah.
Well, first off, thank you very much for inviting us to
Right.
this podcast. This is our
Yes,
first
thank you.
podcast to be invited to. And I think the whole idea of this initiative started from me when I was just I think it was during 2019 during fasting, the month of fasting, where I was like, why am I not talking about religion with my friends? And I thought it was because I myself was listening to different lecturers about stories and of Islam, and I was like, I really wish I had a group of people who I can talk about religious stuff too, and just have a discussion where it's just non-judgmental. And I proposed this idea to my close friends. So it was Yusra, it was me, it was my sister, it was Irish, I think it was Bisma, Kiran. So it's just like, and then Komal Honey, and it was like Mavish's friend. So it's just like my friends and friends of friends. And then we decided to have, before the launch of Deen Times Dunya, the initiative, we basically had a small all-female friends group where we were doing Deen sessions. So it was basically each one of us took turns every month and talked about a particular religious topic. And during that time I was like, maybe I can turn this into an Instagram thing. Wouldn't that be fun? And then actually, while planning the initiative out, a lot of people, I mean, of course, the group of friends were like, because we are not experts in our own religion, it might be difficult and controversial if we say or portray anything about the religion of Islam. And this might take, 10 years. And I'm a very ambitious person. And I was like, 10 years? I don't think so. I want to do it now. And then so I think I just pushed the idea where to like my friends. I was like, no, we have to do it now or it's never. Now or never. And then slowly we made a team who was willing to take their time out from their day job and from their busy life schedule. And then now we are six of us: me, Yusra, my sister Alicia, Mavish, Bisma, and
Taiba.
Taiba. So
Yeah.
that's how it was pushed. The idea of DeenxDunya and the initiative on an online platform was pushed. So yeah,
Yeah. So you basically forced your friends to do this with you.
I did. I basically did. I basically did.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
actually has this vision. Like, it's been quite some time, you know. And I remember when we were like in high school, we used to say like, "Oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that together, and this and that."
Yeah.
And initially, they had this group, which were like all these Hong Kong girls. So I was like, obviously, a Pakistani girl now. So I wasn't really aware of this, and then Anisa just brought it up to me, and then we were also in that specific Zoom sessions we used to have with the girls. And then suddenly Anita's like, no, I want to manifest this whole thing into something like productive. So suddenly one day she's like, oh, I want to have like a Dean times Dunya page, you know, where we can like put forth our sort of, I wouldn't say like expertise, sort of like what are our plans to like carry this thought forward. Why are we bringing this specifically in Hong Kong? Because that's like the main place that we were like our focus on, like our audience, our target audience, the girls, young girls. So obviously I support her in everything. So I'm like, go for it, I'm here for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing to see that you had this vision for such a long time and you just took that ambition and just did it. You know, a lot of people plan, but they never do. So it's amazing to hear that you actually.
I've been told that a couple of times that a lot of people say that they're going to do it but they don't. But I don't know. I feel it was just, I think what really brought this entire initiative into action was and I've mentioned this a lot of times to them and to people who I meet, um, where one time I went back to a high school, and I went back to my high school without mentioning the name, and I believe there was like we were having a career talk with the junior form girls, and they were of course Pakistanis. And I believe there were Indians as well, but majority of them were Pakistanis. And I asked, oh, after DSEs, one of the questions was, after DSEs, what will you do? Are you thinking about going to a particular university? And she was in junior form, and she said, no, I'm going to get married. Because after marriage, my life will be so much easier. I wouldn't need to do anything. And I think that really kind of fumed my passion, because I think for me, when I see young girls as young as her who are in junior form, to think that the only aim of their life is to get married, and after that their life will be, so easy, and it will be like a breeze. I think it was just that made me feel, this is really not the religion of Islam, and Islam is not oppressive as to, it doesn't limit women, to work or to explore their interest, and so on and so forth. And so what really brought this into action was that particular situation. And yeah, here we are.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that I can totally understand that. I mean, my um motivation behind this podcast was to bring, these voices that people often say are oppressed and don't know anything or can't speak for themselves. So I was like, let's make a podcast where all we do is to speak for ourselves. And so I totally understand where you're coming
Yeah.
from. Um, so in your bio it says empower women through the discourse of Deen and Dunya. So is that's what you're essentially doing, would you say?
Yeah. So do
Mm,
you want to?
yeah. So like when we were like planning this whole thing, obviously our main focus was on empowering women. Because we were already like acquitted to a little bit of Deen, the sessions that we had in our group. So the element that was new was the dunya element.
Mm.
So why we mentioned this in our bio is because Islam also says that we need to balance between deen and dunya. But
Mm.
some people, they're very like, they weigh more on deen and some weigh more on dunya. So what can we bring to this platform that sort of balances these two concepts? We're not professionals obviously, but we're really trying.
Mm.
The thing is that women, as Anisa said, that she had that sort of encounter where the girl was like, oh, I want to get married. But yes, marriage is a huge part of Islam, but there are other things as well. So which is why we said that we need to educate girls with the discourse of deen and dunya, that even though you can achieve new heights in dunya, you can do, sorry, deen, you can also do the same in dunya as well, keeping the limitations of deen as well. Like, you obviously, you're not going to do haram or whatever,
Mm.
just keep it halal, but in a good way. Like, it makes you grow, so you're feeling empowered.
Yeah.
So I think that's the whole idea of our
Yeah.
project.
Yeah. I think um people are reluctant to talk about Deen in general.
Yes.
Maybe because a lot of the times we tend to talk about controversial topics, right? So
Hmm.
that controversial topic can include marriage, can include divorce, can include adoption and adopting children, so on and so forth. But there are also the basic things, which is, oh, how should I treat my parents? Oh, how should I eat when I go out in a restaurant? How should I treat my friends? How should I treat my neighbor? How should I should I visit a sick person who is in the hospital? Should I donate an extra amount of money that I have to a charity? I think these are the basic principles that a lot of us are forgetting because we are, or because social media wants us to, or wants us to focus on other topics, other controversial topics, that we are beginning to forget our foundation as Muslim. But at the same time, while we are trying to remember the basic, or trying to build our foundation in terms of deen, of course we can't neglect dunya, because that's where we are currently living in. And in pursuit of deen, we should also pursue our goals in dunya, and that can mean a woman achieving, her career goals, her academic goals. I think it's important to keep the conversation going. And so whenever we, for example, when we have classes with young girls, we tend to not only focus on the class, but we also have like a sharing session between the instructor and the participants, so that they can have a one-on-one with the instructor, and kind of see that the dunya's limitations are not really limitations. You just have to explore them. But at the same time, you can see, oh, there are also people who are wearing hijabs and they can do whatever they want to do. And yeah, so I think it's the reason it's in our bio is because we want to keep the conversation going. So
Mm.
yeah.
Mm. Yeah, interesting. Because you need to fulfill your responsibilities in this world before you focus on the hereafter. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so you guys mentioned the people that are in your team. I guess I just wanted to know how you assigned the different roles to each person. Um, like, there's the graphic side of the social media, there's the organizing of the events and everything. How did you assign all this work?
Interesting question. So all of us are friends, and working among friends can also be, I believe, can also be taxing. And I think you said, do you want to say how it can be taxing?
Because I feel like when you have like friends being sort of like in your team, you have to keep in mind a lot of things. For example, as Aniza is our team leader, she came up with this whole concept. So she has a lot of responsibility. Even though work is divided among us, I basically do the whole graphic thing and like handling the social media along with Alicia.
Mm.
And we have other girls who are on the research team who are organizing events. Um, they look up data. So sometimes when they miss out on something, you can't really directly tell them, oh no, you missed out on this. You have to like have that euphemistic attitude that you cannot really say to their face, but you have to keep in mind, oh, they're my friend. So that personal sort of relationship comes in between as well.
Mm.
Anisa and I, we, Alhamdulillah, we've never fought in our entire friendship that we would like to say.
Well,
but
well, well, now you've just jinxed it.
but when professionalism comes in, Anisa can be a little strict. She's like, I want this work done by this time. And then I'm like, yes, sister, I got you. So I feel like a lot of us are dealing with a lot of things in our life. We have studies, we have some of us are married as well. We have people who are married in the team. So even though we are part of this initiative, we have a lot of other things, factors that are also part of our life. So it all like mixes together, and then sometimes it can be chaotic. But I think that's part of the whole process. We are learning, we are growing. We have debates. We have, sometimes we can say a lot of things, but then at the end of the day, we're friends, so nothing's gonna go bad. Nobody's gonna take it to their heart. So it's just like we have healthy conversations. We don't directly point at each other. It's sort of like agree to disagree sort of thing. Like we love each other, but sometimes there are differences. So, but we
Yeah.
work really good as a team. Like
Yeah.
that is why we get appreciation, and that is why our platform is going great, alhamdulillah. So
Mm.
all kudos to the team.
Yeah.
Good work.
I think because they're all of my friends, and I knew, and they were already in the prior to the official DD team, we already had like a Dean um,
Session team, yeah.
session group,
Yeah.
and I already knew if some of my friends were coming to the official DD team, I knew what they were good at. I knew that Bisma, and I think it was Bisma. Yeah, I knew Bisma was really particular about Dean, and so I put her in charge of the Dean research. And I knew two of my teammates were particularly good at speaking to people, and they had more connections with other people and other online community. So I knew I should put them in charge of organizing activities and talking to the collaborators if needed. And I knew that Yusra was good. I knew since the beginning that Yusra was good with, her social media skills, and so I put her into
You're
that
lucky.
department. I'm very lucky. I think it's a beautiful chaos. We can describe it like that.
Yeah.
The team is a beautiful chaos, but at the end of the day, all of them show great professionalism when it comes to doing the work,
Yeah.
and may it be the Dean department or may it be the Dunya department. And yeah, I think that's just how because I knew their skills that they were good at, that's exactly how I divided the team. It was Deen, it was Dunya, and within the Deen and Dunya, we have who'll manage the social media team and who'll manage the research. So yeah, it really, I just knew as friends that these were their strengths, and that's how exactly I put them and divided them into groups within the team. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense because I can imagine friends are like family, and we know
Yeah.
families' personality traits and who's the
Yeah.
stubborn one and who's the yeah. So it makes it even more impressive because more than family, friends can be sometimes less professional when it comes to business, and you guys still
Yeah.
manage to be professional.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, onto the so Yusra, you're doing the graphics and the social medias, is that
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So the logo, I think that was one of your second or third post on so Instagram, and it was
Yeah. Second.
about
Second. I guess. Yeah.
yeah, so it was about what the designs and the symbols within the logo mean,
Hmm.
and you also have your motto in it. So what was the process behind that? Was that a team effort or whose idea was it?
Um, like before the launch of DD, Anisa and I used to stay up till midnight to get things done. Like literally, we used to be on Zoom calls for like hours until we don't reach a certain sort of product or some we used to have like different samples. So if only I had the picture of the number of samples I made for the logo, because there's a lot of editing. First, we just went for a simplistic freesia flower. I think so. Wasn't that Anisa? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. It was just a freesia flower, which means freedom. So freedom is one of the attributes of Didi. Uh, we want women to be like free to speak what they want, free to be like be open about their voices, to say what they like. So freedom was a huge before like the launch. So we were finding elements that would add up to our thought process.
Mm.
So we were just finding elements like what can we add, like then we finally settled with freesia flower. So we had that in mind, and then suddenly we're like, what else can we add to the logo so that it's more like connected to our name, like DeenxDunya. And then we started looking at elements in while we were like designing, and then we just came across this woman who is like in a position where she's praying. She has her hands like she's making dua. So then it sort of suddenly clicked in our head that, oh, we can use this as a representation of Deen, and the freesia flower can be representation of dunya. So then we had the women as our center in the logo, which is also representing women, our main audience. And then we had the freesia flower as a crown, um, which is symbolizing that women are independent, as well as the our motto is to grow is to flourish. So the more the flower grows, the more it flourishes. So that applies same to human mind. The more you are exposed to the happenings in the world, the more you learn, the more you grow, the more you understand what is happening around you. So I think that's how it came about, our logo, how we wanted to encapsulate everything that we had in mind for Didi. So yeah, that's how it went. A lot of amendments, but we finally decided on
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. I mean, I was, as you were talking, I was looking at the logo to like follow your
Hmm.
thought process behind it. And to be honest, I never noticed that the flower was on top of the woman's head.
Yeah.
as
Do you
as
like
a
the logo?
crown. I love the logo. No, I love it honestly, and to think that so much time and effort went behind it. You look at it and it's like it's the finished product. It's perfect, but
Mm.
like you said, there was so much time that went behind it.
Hmm.
So it's amazing. Um, Earlier you said I wanted to ask. You said everyone has their own. All the team members they have their own lives and other jobs and
Mm.
full-time
Mm.
work and everything. So is this like a part-time thing for you guys, a side project, or would you like to make this into a full-time endeavor?
Good question. It began as a side project. Oh, we're going to do this thing as a side project of ours because again, everyone was working or um, some of the team members were studying full time. But while we were doing this, we recognized that the work we want to do requires us to give our attention to it as a full-time job. And for now, the short-term goal is still for it to be a side project, and that's also because of other full-time commitments the team has in life. But eventually, the long-term goal is for it to be a full-time job slash project
Mm,
for the team. And the reason behind this is because it takes a lot of time and effort and energy to come up with ideas, and then to come up with resources to make those ideas come to life, and then also to effectively make that idea come true and bring it to life. And with my very very ambitious energy, I feel like it's somehow a little bit too, it can be a little bit too burdensome because whatever content we are putting out on Instagram right now, it really requires our utmost attention. And yeah, eventually, hopefully, inshallah, it will become a full time thing, slash
mm,
job. Hopefully, I don't know, inshallah. But
inshallah. Yeah.
Inshallah.
for now, it's still a side project for most of the team members.
Yeah. I feel you when you say when you talk about it being there's so much work that goes into any project that a person wants to do. I mean,
Yeah.
this podcast, there's a reason why I only come up with episodes during holidays because I study and I work. So and I don't have anyone else doing it with me. So it's just me. So I can only do it in Christmas holidays or summer holidays. And yeah, that the
I
full
was just.
time,
Mm,
yes.
sorry, sorry,
Yeah, I
sorry.
was saying full time is also one of I just dream of being able to do this full time and just give all my time and effort to this. Yeah.
This is crazy. I was just thinking how is it possible? Like, because we have a team who comes up with ideas, and I cannot imagine myself doing this alone. And so I was like, oh my god, how does Kamaria does like how like the podcast is so difficult. And I was like, it's honestly commendable. I can't. This is not a one man job, not at all.
Yeah, thank you. Which is why people always ask me to do weekly episodes. I'm like, are you crazy?
Does it take? Does it? I mean, I'm guessing the research would take a lot of time, of course. But when
Yeah.
you record yourself, does it take a lot of time? Just the recording?
Um, So the recording is the easiest part in all of this.
Mm,
You just press record, and obviously most of my
just
episodes are with my friends, so we're all just talking. And
mm.
it's the editing that takes a lot of time because there's a lot of, especially with friends, they can go off topic, especially yeah.
That
So
is so true.
yeah, and we start talking about other things.
Other
So
thing.
yeah, so the editing takes a lot of time, and then making the social media graphics for it, and then scheduling the graphics and
Mm,
trying to get people to just listen to it. So, and
yeah.
the research also takes I would say a week
Yeah, the
read
research.
on the topic. I don't want to just choose a topic and start talking about it without even knowing the ABCs of it. So yeah, I would say the research and the editing of the
And the editing.
podcast.
Yeah, editing is difficult.
Yeah,
It takes a lot of time.
yeah, yeah. And also I do it over, like right now one of you is in Hong Kong and one of you is in Pakistan, and
Yeah.
so there's always like some sort of voice problem, so I have to
All
fix that as well.
right.
So it's always just such a, but thankfully I have to say the connection and the voice is very, like, the quality is really nice for this episode. So
Woohoo!
yeah,
Yay!
yeah.
It's the good vibes.
Yeah, so for my next question, you
Mm,
guys have explained, your motivations behind this project. You want to focus on Dean and Dunya. So how do you plan that? Since you've had the baking session and the coded sessions, and you've also
mm.
had online Zoom study sessions on Quran verses or Hadith. So how do you make sure you keep the two in balance? You don't focus too much on one side and too less on the other.
Um, we do it on alternative basis. So for, let's say, this month um, we have one activity that is dunya related. So that will be, let's say, the coding class. Then the next activity has to be deen related. So the deen related activity could be one of the prayer buddy activity that we started, which was, we'll be at this mosque during Zohar time, and if you're free, you can come along and we can pray together. So it's just based on how we can alternate deen activity and dunya activity to keep it balanced. Yeah, nothing too complicated. It's just how we alternate those both of the sides activities. So yeah.
Mm. Yeah, so the baking and the coded activities, for listeners who don't know, the baking one, could you explain what the two activities were? And I really wanted to ask this question because the way you organized it with such a small team, how did you manage that? How did you manage to get the location for the baking sessions? How did you manage to get the equipment for the coded sessions? Because you had laptops and stuff. So
Hmm.
how did that come up?
So, first we had Coded, right? That was our first ever collaboration with Aman. So we had the whole plan ready that, we're gonna look for places which are affordable, but they have the tech stuff because we're starting with Coded, right? So the class is about coding. So first I think Aniza did a lot of, along with, I think Mavish, was it
Hmm.
Mavish?
Yes.
So it was with Mavish that they started looking at places which they can rent so that it provides with all the tech stuff. We needed projectors, we needed
Hmm.
laptops, we needed whiteboard, some sort of with it. Like we all needed these stuff so that a class is like a full-fledged class.
Hmm.
Obviously we had to pay for that, so that's why we had like participant fees, because first of all we have someone from the STEM industries. She's taking out her time and effort. She prepared a very informative and giving lesson for the students, so thank you, Aman, for that. And we also needed a space which is comfortable, which is like small but then easily like comfortable for students to like attend the class on. So that was like the perfect space that we could rent. So we paid according to participant numbers, the basis that we had, the limit that we had set. Since it was our first collaboration, we didn't want to go too overboard, so that it was a lot of pressure. So we started with very minimalistic, very less amount of participants, so that it's easier for us to handle, so that we don't ruin anything, because it's our image of DD. So we need to be very professional with what we plan. So we had a whole plan ready. We went with that plan, and we also had other plans, but this seemed fit. Then we paid for it, and then we had participants who had given us oh no, they did not give us fee, because we had a very generous person.
Sponsor.
Sponsor. So we had a sponsor who sponsored the class actually. So whichever participants which were like participating in the class, they were given no fees, because free of charge, because we had a very generous sponsor. So thank you, sponsor. So yeah, so we had a good class. Aman showed a lot of professionalism. The students were very enthusiastic. You can also see like our reviews. We also posted the feedbacks on our page, that the students we're actually very happy with the session. And especially coded being our first collaboration was because there are very less, it's like a male dominated sort of field, STEM field. So Aman, we had a lot of like Aman was basically our high school mate. She was like our junior. So she was the only one who applied to the STEM industry among all the girls that we used to know, because a lot of us went to either the teaching field, or Aniza specifically, she went to the law field. So Aman, it was very interesting how Aman had interest in this field, and how we wanted to know how it all started, and how it can empower other girls, influence other girls to like at least think of this STEM field as an option. Maybe they can bring about a change in this field. So that is why we had like young girls participating, because it's good to start young, start feeding them young, so they're more creative, so that they know what career paths they want to opt for. So yeah, that's how we did. We rented a place, we had a generous sponsor, generous instructor, and of course the DD team, which executed the event very nicely. So yeah, that's about it.
I think from my experience, I just know that there's so many resources out there in the world. Sorry about the noise. There's so many resources out there in the world. It's just a matter of us looking for it. And finding a place to rent was not as difficult as we thought, even though we don't have funders yet. We still, as a team, were able to gather whatever amount of money that we could gather within the team, and we used that amount to look for an affordable place to rent for coding. And then for the baking class, we were fortunate enough to have one of our friend who works in a center, and she was able to provide us that space for free as well. So yeah, it was just a matter of seeing what opportunities we have in terms of where we can spend our money and where we can save our money. And as finding instructors was not difficult, because Aman, I know her, and so as I annoyed my other friends to join the team, I also annoyed her. Oh, will you be interested in teaching, young girls? It will be so nice. It will be empower young girls. Oh, they might see you as a role model. And actually, one of the participant who attended the coding classes, although she said to keep it anonymous. I'm still not going to mention who it was, but one of the participants was like, oh, Aman is really my role model. She's such a badass. And I actually forwarded this comment to Aman. And yeah, finding instructors, I think it's not difficult. It's just a matter of reaching out to them. And same with 𝐀𝐥𝐥. 𝐀𝐥𝐥 was just such a wonderful, funny person to work with, and the participants were so eager to ask her questions as to, oh, how should I start my business if I don't have money, or oh, how are you so consistent with everything, oh, how do you deliver your cakes, do you have someone helping you? And so yeah, it's not, maybe people think it's very difficult to gather all of the resources and gather the participants, but I think at the end of the day, it's just a matter of you trying to attract them and just pull them towards your direction, and it worked out perfectly, I think. So yeah.
I mean, this is how small projects like these start. All of my podcast guests so far have been my friends, like Komal, Honey, and I think you guys are the first people who are outside of my friend circle, even though I still kind of know you. So yeah, it's nice to have that kind of connection, especially in Hong Kong. There's not many Pakistanis around, so everyone kind of knows everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that you guys have that kind of space to go and get people to join your project.
Yeah, I think it's just it's friends pulling up for you and your ideas and your ambitions. And I think at the end of the day, it's just a matter of reaching out and people will willingly say yes, because
Mm.
there's no harm in supporting one another, especially
Yeah,
if you're of
exactly.
especially if you're of the same ethnicity, as they say, or of the same national background. And yeah, I'm just grateful that my friends are here.
Yeah,
And
even for like the activities, right? Because in Hong
mhm,
Kong, we are considered as ethnic minorities. So
Mm.
the emphasis on minorities is huge. It's there
mm,
because that's the title that we're given.
yeah,
So our activities usually had people from that specific group. So maybe somebody might be inspired by the activities that we hosted, and they can just make us proud, make our community proud. So we are not really minorities. I mean, I feel like this sort of has a negative connotation as well, because obviously Hong Kong, their majority is Chinese, right? So a lot of opportunities are given to Chinese. But now I think Hong Kong is like progressing, since
definitely.
our people are like coming out, with their skills and expertise, and people want our people to be part of their organizations, businesses. So this is why we target young girls through our activities, which are Pakistani, Indian, Nepalese, Filipinos, you name it. So that they don't really consider themselves as minorities, even though we're labeled
Mm.
as that, but you can be more than that, try to like
Yeah,
grow and, make us proud, make our
Yeah,
yeah,
community proud.
yeah. We may be
Yeah,
minority in number, but we're not a minority in ambition and skill and
exactly.
dreams. And
I
so
Exactly.
agree.
kudos to you guys. You guys are doing amazing work.
Thank
Thank
you.
Yes.
you.
So your recent, I'm gonna be honest, the recent post on kind of historical biographical post on Benazir Bhutto and Princess
Mm, mm,
Mm-hmm.
Diana surprised me because I don't know why it surprised me. I thought it surprised me because it was such a unique and different content coming out from
mm,
you guys. Before that, it was mainly these Zoom sessions and these activities, and then you had this, right?
mm.
So, what was the purpose of this post, and how did you choose these two iconic women as the first people you wanted to focus on?
We basically, because we were trying to come up with different content on the Instagram page, so that's different content on social media, and then different content that we can organize via face to face. And one of the ideas that came about from our meeting with the team was, oh, maybe we can take turns via the team members and have us talk about one particular women figure that we look or we are inspired by. And that's the whole idea based yeah, that's the whole idea behind the reason why we came up with the post, especially Women of the Month. And we supposedly had a post coming in April, but because we got so busy with the content related to Ramzan, that we were unable to come out with another Women of the Month. And so yeah, it was just actually it was Marish who suggested this Women of the Month activity. And yeah, we just take turns within the team. So the first post was done by, was
You.
it me? Yeah, me. And then the second post, so it's basically information behind, like information on Benazir Bhutto. I searched it up, and then I gave it to Yusra to make it look aesthetic. And then the second post was Alicia's, right? Yes. And
Yes.
then she researched on Princess Diana and then gave it to Yusra. We dumped it all to Yusra and then she made it look all
Yeah.
aesthetic. So yeah, we'll hopefully we'll be having more Women of the Month, but yeah, is the whole idea is just for people to see there are women succeeding in life, and but at the same time they also have problems. So
Yeah. The
regardless of your
struggles.
problems, yeah,
Yeah.
regardless of your problems, you can also succeed. So that's just the whole idea. But yeah, do you think? I mean, a question. Do you think the information is too much on the or is
No,
perfect?
it's perfect. Yeah,
Really?
it's like in a few slides you laid out their life. Obviously, it's not like a documentary
Yeah.
level of research, but that's what I liked about the post, that it's not just all about their successes and achievements. It's also about the struggles that they faced, which is, I feel like nowadays when people talk about um, their inspirations, they only talk about the good things that they have done and the amazing things
Mm,
that they have done, and no one talks about the struggles and the failures that they faced, which for younger girls is really important to show them. I have
yeah.
a younger sister. I need to like show her that not every day is going to be your best. So
Yeah.
you have to keep going,
Exactly.
you know? So
Yeah.
I love these kind of content. So it was really cool to see.
Oh, I'm
Um,
glad.
yeah. Um, yeah, so I'm also like really happy listening to you guys when you talk about Aman and Marish and all the other girls, because I know them from primary school, and so it's really just a proud moment for me to like listen to all the amazing things that they are doing.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so so you had like Aman as the software engineer guest in your coded activity, and you also highlighted Princess Diana's life in one of your posts. So that kind of made me wonder if this scene in Dunya is exclusively for women, Muslim women, or are you also looking at other, you know, women from other backgrounds and religions and cultures?
Isa, do you want to take it over?
You can start. I'll jump in.
Okay. Okay. Um, even though Deen and Dunya is religiously affiliated to the religion of Islam, right? But when we have Dunya related activities or when we have Deen related activities, of course, we are not limiting these activities to just Muslim women or Muslim young women. And the only reason is if we are trying to encourage the discourse of Deen and Dunya, this has to happen not only within the Muslim community but also outside the Muslim community. And despite having so much information out there, there are still misconceptions about um, the religion of Islam. There's still misconceptions related to Islam where it is targeted as, oh, it encourages terrorism and women are oppressed, and oh, you can't women have to or girls have to get married at a young age, right? Like you have to
Exactly.
give
All the
birth at
like
a age.
Islamophobic
Yeah,
remarks,
all the
that
Yeah.
we
typical
get.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's so important to not limit our audience just
Hmm.
to the Muslims, but at the same time, we also recognize the fact that when it comes to theme sessions in particular, because um, of course we're at the stage where we are also doing research to the best of our abilities, but we are also in the beginner stage. We might not be as comfortable as having non-Muslims participants joining us, and not because we are discriminating them to join the session, but it's because we don't think we can do justice to in answering their questions that they have related to Islam, and we might not be able to do justice to Islam and just so we can protect and respect both sides. For the sessions in particular, for now we are just not accepting non-Muslims, and that's only to protect not only the host but also the non-Muslim participants who ask us questions that we are unable to give,
Answer.
unable to give a productive answer, a concrete
Exactly.
answer, and to
Yeah.
not insult them, and because
Mm-hmm.
that's just not the whole idea behind Islam. So, but apart from that, for now, everyone is welcome. All religions,
Yeah.
everyone from any
That's what
background.
we did for like for our Ramadan postings.
Mm.
We actually had, if you have like seen our post, we actually have like a Chinese version of the introduction to Ramadan.
Mm.
So we can say that that is sort of like the kickstart to like be inclusive of non-Muslims, especially the Chinese community, because Islam is very much stereotyped, discriminated in the Western media, and even like all over the place, which is but it is because of that is our sort of like aim that we sort of want to achieve, is to like clear out some Islamophobic ideologies or remarks that people, it's like when they see a guy with beard, they say, oh, you're a terrorist. So
Mm.
why do they have that sort of image? Because they've been fed that image
Mm.
through the discourse, like the media discourse. So we
Yeah.
want to change that. So it can only change with like the baby steps that we're taking by posting about Islam in other languages, which obviously the local language is Cantonese, and not everybody in Hong Kong can read English. So the youth,
Mm.
especially. So, which is why we had that Chinese version to like sort of educate them that why Ramadan is important for us, why do we fast this month, what are the virtues, what are the significance of this month. So, we laid that out in that specific post, and Alhamdulillah, we received a very good feedback from that post, because if it's like a light, like when we say there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So
Mm.
that's how we sort of came with this idea, and then how we received appreciation for this is because when one person reads a post, supposedly a Chinese person reads that post that we posted about Ramadan. So obviously they're intrigued, they're interested into, oh, what this post has to offer, and then they're gonna share it with their friends, and the friends shared with their friends. So that
Mm.
whole sharing actually is because they're interested in this content. It intrigues them, and they want to know more about what our page is about, why we specifically talking about Islam, and a lot of things. So for Aman and for Princess Diana, even though they're non-Muslims, but what they had achieved in life is what we put our focus on, which is why we had them in our DD plan and everything that we, want to achieve with our
Yeah.
page, you know. So yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah. So you started on Instagram, and to my knowledge, you're still on only on
Mm.
Instagram. Do you have
Mm.
any plans to move to, like, you had a video out a few, like, last month or a few months ago? Are you planning to go on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, maybe?
We don't have any plans to go on YouTube yet. But maybe it's a platform we can explore. Um, because we will be hopefully having more conversations with Didi videos out. But as of now, we are focusing on Instagram, but we can expect Didi to be on other social media platforms. I think
Cool.
we can say that.
TikTok, maybe?
TikTok, no, not
No.
my
No, we're not
expertise.
touching that. No.
Not
I
my
don't.
expertise.
How long has it been here? I've not touched it.
Really?
I've never downloaded it. No. And
Same.
people,
You're the good one. You're the good one. Because TikTok is
it,
banned in Hong Kong,
is
so
it? I didn't
It's
know that.
banned. So it's
Oh,
banned in Hong Kong, and so what one of my friends did was she used a different SIM card or used a different phone, and she was able
They
to
use VPN
VPN.
so that
Yeah,
they can get access to TikTok, so they
yeah.
can make TikToks, and yeah.
That's the funniest thing. There's this
yeah.
one phone, and the purpose of this phone is to only have access to TikTok, and that's
Exactly.
it. And
That's
that's
the
it.
power of TikTok.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah. I'm kind of glad I'm not on there, even though sometimes people, you know how they mention a meme or a funny video and you have no
Yeah,
idea what they're talking about.
yeah.
Same.
But
Exactly.
you can see the TikToks on Instagram anyways, because they
Yeah, you
always have.
can.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's the same thing. It's just that we can't make it.
Yeah, which I
Yeah.
wouldn't
That's,
want to anyway. I would never
yeah,
want to
Hmm.
make a TikTok.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so the final question is the big question.
Ooh, dun, dun.
What is your dream for the next dunya? And I use the word dream because I feel like other than goal or hope is because dreams is like, no limitations, no realistic thought. Just what is your big dream of how far you want to take this project forward?
Hmm.
Isra, how far do you want to take this project forward?
As far as we can go.
Oh.
um, Dream for Didi. We have a lot of dreams for Didi.
What's
Aniza specifically. Well, she mentioned she wanted to make it a full-time thing, so that's one.
yeah, that's one.
So I think for Dream, I think we want to make it a huge thing. Not I feel like we don't want to limit ourselves maybe just in Hong Kong. Anisa, remember we discussed that maybe we can like start this thing in Pakistan as well.
Yeah.
So maybe I can like have my friends from Pakistan to like be a part of this. So we can have like different opinions on one platform. We can have different people adding to DD uh, in both Deen and Dunya aspect. And maybe we can expand in England too. So
Mm.
we
Are you
never
hinting
know.
at something?
Yeah.
Are you hinting Kamaria to join
Yeah,
our
exactly.
team?
Kamaria, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm getting the signals. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think Dream, we just want to make it a good, healthy project, because we don't want to rush anything as for yet, because we ourselves are trying to like learn and go by what we have started. We want to like keep it, when you have a special gift, you just want to keep it like safe and
Mm,
like away from all the troubles. So
Mm.
Didi is like a baby to us.
Mm.
We want to take care of it, and how child nurtures, you put effort in their
Mm.
nourishment. That's what we're doing for Didi as well. We're trying to come up with contents which would be, inshallah, we will um you know tell the public, and then we'll hopefully have more bigger plans. Maybe inshallah we need a bigger team as well to make these plan execute.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I think we're just like, I think we just really just need prayers. We just need like guidance from Allah, that please guide us to good paths so that we can
Yeah.
inspire people
Well.
and
yeah.
even educate ourselves. It's not just for the sake of young women or Muslim, non-Muslim. It's for our growth as well, because I have seen change in myself, because whenever we have like Dean sessions, it's like a new knowledge is added in your being. You're exposed to new Islamic values, like why are we here in this dunya, and even for like dunya sort of activities, we have like, oh, women can be independent, just like Medj. Like she started this in COVID. She started her own um, baking business in COVID. and how she grew over time, mashallah, is because of the consistency that she showed and the support that she got. So she wouldn't have thought, if you watch our interview or sort of session we had with her in the conversations with Didi, she did not plan on making it a thing. It was just like, in the air, she just had this thought, oh, why not start baking? But when you start realizing that it is adding up to your growth, she's becoming financially independent. She can provide for herself, maybe for her family as well, for her parents. And she has been an inspiration for many young girls. Um, it's not necessary, like some people, it's not to like stereotype or like discriminate. Some people don't excel in academic fields, That doesn't mean you're a failure.
Yeah.
Your skills can also make you reach new heights. For example, if you're good at painting, you're baking, cooking, sports, these things can also make you reach new heights. So even for Didi, we're trying to do our best, take out time for Didi, and inshallah, hopefully, we will grow even more. To grow
Inshallah.
is to flourish. Inshallah.
Oh, that's a lovely line. Where did you get that from?
Oh wow, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I agree with Yusra. There's just endless possibilities with what we can do with this initiative and with this project, side project we have. But because I'm very ambitious, so I would want it to be. I think I envision this to become a women's foundation. I think that would be a really nice dream to have come true. I also want different collaborators from different fields. That would be doctors or lawyers or architectures or artists or book writers, just different professionals who can connect or who can share their stories with young women who don't necessarily have the access to such information, so that they know that they're not only limited to marriage and there's just endless possibilities with what they can do in life. And yeah, I think those two are my top dreams. And also for the message of Islam to be out there, especially in Hong Kong. I want more people to know that when we are celebrating Ramzan, they can wish us, oh, Ramzan Mubarak. People who are non-Muslims, I want them to wish us the way we wish them, oh, Happy Chinese New Year, or Happy New Year. And yeah, I think I want Hong Kong people who are not Muslims to be more appreciative of the Muslim community, and to show them that, oh, you have been a part of our history for so long. After so long, we understand your religion. Even if we don't, we at least know how to show respect by wishing you Ramzan Mubarak, Eid Mubarak, or do you have did you have time to pray? Maybe you can pray here, so on and so forth. So, just being a more inclusive
Society, yeah.
society and community.
Even like when you said prayer just now, it just ring a bell that our team members, when we have our catch-up sessions, so a lot of them usually say that, oh, they prayed at their workplace today. It's sort of like a step that they took to because I think Aniza can relate to this because she's in Hong Kong. She actually I think when you were working in a law firm, when you were like that, oh, you need to have a space for offering namaz. And was it awkward or something, or you were a little shy, or was it marriage? I don't know, because it's not normalized to pray at a workplace which is filled with non-Muslims. I think in England, I think Maria will give a better insight. I think there's a lot of Islam in England, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
personally
there is.
have my family in England, and they're like communities. People go to mosques. They have um, gatherings, and even my cousins, like they're very well nurtured with Islam despite being in a Western country. So it's because people are familiar with what Islam is, why we pray namaz. We can pray namaz. We wear hijab to work, right? They're
Mm.
workers. Like I went to England in 2018. Right? So I was like very surprised. Like they have like female workers who were wearing hijab in Asda, and it was quite normal. Like nobody
Yeah,
Mm.
would
it's
actually
very
point.
normal.
Nobody
Yeah,
would actually pinpoint that. Oh,
I'm
why you're
surprised that
wearing
I'm
exactly?
surprised you find that surprising, just now. But then
Mm.
I remembered I also had the same reaction when I came here in
Right?
2016. Yeah, and it's
Hmm.
very, very common.
It's very common.
Yeah.
But like when I was in Hong Kong, and Aniza might also relate to this, people would actually question, why do you wear hijab? Don't you feel hot in it? Don't you get sweaty in it? Like, how do you wear hijab? Why do
Mm,
you wear it? What's the reason behind it? So these questions is why we have DD,
mm,
because we want to educate them that why you wear hijab, what is Islam, what is the purpose of Islam, because they don't know it. So they judge us because of that. And yeah, it gets hard for us to practice Islam in a non-Muslim country. Some, like maybe not in England, but in Hong Kong. So for them, it's hard.
yeah.
I mean, I've left Hong Kong, so but
Hey,
Yeah.
hey,
Aniza,
you might be coming back. You don't know.
yeah, we'll see
Don't
about
jinx
that.
yourself.
So even our team members, they're like, oh, like if I say it in Urdu, like, आज नमाज पढ़ के बहुत अजीब लगा, like काम पे.
Mm.
Because you have the eyes that are judging you. They're like, oh, how are they praying? What are they doing? You
Mm.
know. So maybe we want to
Mm,
clear that confusion and that discrimination or the judgment that is being passed towards Muslim and Muslim girls. So
Mm. Yeah.
I think.
yeah.
I'd like to clarify. I myself felt uncomfortable praying when I first started working because I was like, oh, maybe my colleagues won't be comfortable. And that's the only reason. Actually, one of my colleagues was like, oh, you can just pray here. And I was like,
Mm,
I don't think
Exactly.
so. It was just me, myself, where I was like, I'm not comfortable praying here. And it wasn't based on their judgment. I think I've been fortunate enough to have very good colleagues actually who are so accepting of my religion. I've never felt as if they were holding me back from including me in their, just making me inclusive within their team, just based on my religion. And yeah, I've just been fortunate enough to have such colleagues. So yeah, thank you,
yeah.
colleagues.
Openly expressing this huge part of your identity, because for a lot of Muslims, it is a huge part of our identity. And I think living in England, I kind of forgot how hard that can be in Hong Kong,
Mm,
because people just don't have the education on this different religions in the world in Hong Kong. Whereas
yeah.
here in England, I would say I still feel uncomfortable praying at workplaces, because,
Mm,
people can still be a bit judgmental, especially with
mm,
how common Islamophobia is here.
mm,
Um,
Hmm.
but at one of my workplaces, it was at a train station, so we had this multi-faith room that people could pray at.
mm,
But I think the most comfortable place that I ever prayed at was my uni campus. And I feel like uni
mm.
campuses are just
Hmm.
more progressive, more open, and we
Exactly.
have
Yes.
we have four libraries, and each of them have two prayer rooms in them. And
Wow.
we also have a separate building that is kind of like a mini mosque on campus.
Wow.
So
That's wow.
yeah, so it's really hard to make excuses or ignore praying when you're sat in the library and the prayer room is right there in front
Right
of
there.
you. So
Exactly.
yeah. So yeah, so but this is the thing. This is how other people can make your life more easier and more
Mm,
inclusive, where it's
yeah.
just
Exactly.
easy for you to practice your religion, and you don't
Hmm.
have to like kind of feel like you're kind of making space for yourself. It's
Mm,
already there. The space has already been made for you.
yeah.
So, and that's why, like Yusra said, it's really exciting that Deen and Dunya can have this potential to make space for the Muslim population in Hong Kong. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's it. This has been
Wow.
really enjoyable. Um,
Yeah.
you guys are so. I keep praising you guys. So eloquent, so
Thank you very
amazing at what
much.
you guys are doing. Um, and yeah, I just wish you the best. Yeah, thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
Thank
coming on.
you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
for
This
having
this
us.
this felt very short actually. It felt
It
Yeah.
did.
it passed
It
by
was.
really quickly.
That is all for this episode on Deen and Dunya. Make sure you follow their Instagram page at DeenxDunya_. Follow their page, like their posts, see what they're up to and the amazing work that they are doing. And of course, follow this podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, wherever you find your podcast. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram at AROO Podcast. And we will see each other for the next episode soon.